And after a year of doing my best and making mistakes and learning from them, I really figured out, how to roll this out.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers, a show bringing you classroom tips, motivation, and stories from successful educators. Join Tavis Bean and Danny Hogger as they explore the why of teaching.
Welcome into a brand new home edition of Inspiring Teachers. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm good, man.
Thanks for the tea. This is good.
It is good. It's Numi tea, and we thank them for supporting our show and putting the fun of tea in teachers. How good is that? And our mugs are both teachers' mugs.
I'm the best teacher ever.
Well, to that I say there are 3 good reasons I'm a teacher. June, July, and August.
Should have vetted these.
Yeah, we should. Who's giving us these mugs?
Rings with a certain air of arrogance.
And the other one's like, I don't even want to be here. Right. Well, welcome to the show. It's great to be with you. We're having a great pre-holiday season, and everything is going really well for us, too. So it's been a while since we sat down at home and just talked about teaching and talk about what we're doing. So what are we doing?
What are we doing?
Well, to start with, I mean,
I'm in the middle of year 2 as a shop teacher.
And I'm in the middle of year 2 as a high school history teacher. Is year 2 better than year 1?
Oh, for me, definitely. I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I think that, do you feel stronger? You feel like you're not as, you're more prepared.
I'm more prepared, and for me, it was like I had the teaching skills and I had the woodworking experience, but I didn't have the bridge of how am I going to teach woodworking. And after a year of doing my best and making mistakes and learning from them, I really figured out, how to roll this out better. And I'm still learning this year. I'm definitely going to be improved even more for year 3.
Yeah. I can sense that. That's a cool thing. And now you've done projects before. You've seen how they rolled out. You've probably made adjustments from the first year.
Yeah, definitely. And also, these kids are a lot of the kids that I built relationships with last year. So I'm carrying those relationships over. And that really helps because when I came in, I was the new guy and they were used to the old guy. So the 8th graders last year were kind of like, I wanted the old guy. And
I remember that.
Yeah, and that's fine. I knew that was going to be something that I would have to tackle, especially in a job like shop teacher where that's a place that kids go to get a break from their normal day-to-day grind of the math class. And so they have a different kind of relationship with the room. And that was something I also thought about is that, me walking into that classroom and saying it's my classroom, in a way, those 8th graders last year, it was more their classroom than my classroom because they had spent more time there. They knew the systems and I was still trying to make my own.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, you pulled the year through. You didn't let that daunt you or anything. And now I think it's shared, right? It's becoming your space.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like
you're becoming their teacher.
Yeah.
And then you have a new crop that never knew the old person, the old teacher. So
And I have a quote that I have 3 quotes that I share with all my students at the beginning of each class. And the first one is Adam Savage, failure is always an option. And we talk a lot about what that means and how that applies to the shop class, how that applies to life in general. But really, it applied to my first year of teaching as well, in that I had to accept the fact that I would make mistakes and not beat myself up about it. Just be like, there's a mistake. There's a mistake. I don't have to be perfect. I'm learning something new. And that really gives me a lot of space and a lot of, I just feel more comfortable in this, without trying to paint myself in this illusion that I am perfect.
That's pretty cool. Because it's not a mistake that's a demerit.
Right.
It's a way of learning forward with every,body. And you're telling them, and here's how we're doing it.
Yeah.
And this is what I believe in, which is kind of cool. I think the old way was, if a teacher was found to have been making a mistake, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then it was something they have to recover from and re-establish management. And that's not the way it is anymore.
Yeah.
At least not for many of the people coming up now. So, and I think it sets a better precedent for students as they're growing up to be okay with those things.
Right.
It's fine.
I tell them that explicitly, that one thing that concerns me about so many other classes is this idea of you need to get everything right. If you get something wrong, you get a point taken away. If you get enough points taken away, then your grade goes down, then you get in trouble, then there's meetings. Here, you've never done woodworking before. I don't expect you to get it right the first time, second time, third time. I have failed with so many projects, and I'm going to fail in front of you.
And when we meet people, we don't ever say, here's what's going to happen if you ever treat me badly, and here's the way I'm going to handle problems. Right. So why do we do that in school? We don't say, well, let's be friends. Let's care for each other when we make mistakes. It would be really nice if we did.
Yeah, right? Maybe we should start doing that.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, be a little bit more explicit with that kind of dynamic. And I think the kids feel comfortable knowing that I'm not going to yell at them if they mess up and they have to start the project over again.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a great way to do it. So teachers out there, how do you deal with managing mistakes or managing classroom permissiveness of learning like that? Tell us in the comment section below. One of the things that I like to do with not knowing everything about history is having sheets of paper. I was going to reach for this. This is a tray of my printer. But the size of this little photo printer sheet is what I wanted. I realized when I looked at it, I couldn't pick it up. I can't take that out of there. It's part of it. And so are the students a part of the classroom who cannot be extracted. The point I was going to make was
that you brought that around.
I have papers that are like this size under my podium where I stand, and they're extra credit sheets. They're worth a point each. Whenever they ask a question I don't know, instead of fudging an answer, try to think of an example from this week. Like someone asked me about the elections in Brazil and what their system was, and I'm like, no, I don't know. Don't really know. Never been asked before. Right. Probably won't ever need to teach about it. But here's a sheet of paper. Go look it up. Find me a source, cite it, and then I'll give you a point. And then when you're ready, raise your hand. You can teach us something.
Oh, that's great. Putting them in charge.
And there's hundreds of them, so I never have to worry about running short. We use one a day, at least probably per class. And the stuff that they ask, then you can reward them for curiosity. And there's no history teacher out there who's perfect. I'm probably the furthest one from it. There's so much I don't know yet. And then I realized, too, like 20 years from now, I will know it. But then I won't have the energy to do all the fun stuff that I'm doing now. So it's like this weird arc. And we adapt to ourselves and our own changes. So that's kind of cool.
It is.
And one of the things that I like about living in this era and teaching in this era, and I talked about this a few minutes ago on our Twitter at Show Teachers, is that it's the best time to teach now because we have technology, we have access to numerous resources, and people who are willing to share because they want to build up what we all can do by sharing ideas. So a friend of the show, Katie Alvarez, I was looking at her Twitter this week. She's been talking to us about blog decks and doing different kind of things and being excited for conferences. She always loves presenting on student engagement and doing things that increase the sensitivity of her classroom. And here's something that she talked about this week. There's always a lot of things. Katie's all over it. But she talks about taking pictures in class and having fun with her students and showing them having a good time in different activities. And I think that that's a cool way. She's in 4th grade. And to show them, remind them how much fun they're learning. Here's a connection that I can make. Sometimes it's like radio, and I talk about this in the book, Broadcaster Secrets of Teaching, is that students won't remember what they learned unless you recap what they did. It's kind of what the point of a quiz or a common assessment or an exit ticket. They also might not remember the fun stuff you've had too. So this week I made a slide and said, here's all the things that we've learned so far this week. And I bullet pointed them like, you don't need to take notes on any of it. I just want to show you, look how much we've talked about. Everything from early history through Columbus to trade to economy to industrialization. Like, we've had a really good quarter together, and I want to thank you because you've been a great class, and I'm really enjoying teaching you. And look how much we're accomplishing. Because a lot of times I feel like they get picked up from school. What'd you do today? Yeah. How's school? Fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I ask them on the way in, what'd you learn today? And they're like, nothing. But if you share with them, look how much we've done. And there's an appreciation of like, look at the race we've run. Look where we started and where we are now. And I think it's kind of cool to, what's in radio is called backselling. Look how much we've done and here's what's coming next. It can be a useful tool. And Katie does it with photos. I do it verbally. You have visuals around the room, I think, probably things that are made.
That inspires me to, because whenever a student finishes a project, specifically one that's unique, I like to take a picture of it. So especially my advanced students, they come up with their own designs and then they, figure out how they're going to do it. And I work with them on the process and then take a picture. And then I should showcase those more often so people can see some of the amazing things that are being used are being made in the class.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks, Katie. You can follow Katie on Twitter at FreshFromThe4th, and we'll put a picture of that up on the screen as well. So many people are friends of the show now. We've had over 50 amazing guests, and it's really great to be part of this thing that keeps growing and growing. And someone else, we'll just do 2 on this episode, and we'll do 2 more on the next episode. Robert Ward, who's just been gosh, what an inspiring teacher.
Hey.
But also, we started this out not knowing what kind of people we would meet and encounter.
Yeah.
And to meet someone who we've never physically shaken hands with and feel like, what a quality person. He's been teaching for 27 years, and he would privately message us and tell us, oh, I'm going to help you share this here or there, or I just saw you in the CTA newsletter. And it's like, feels like we have a cheerleader out there, and he's Robert Ward at Rewarding EDU. And he has just been so busy writing books and writing novels. So he has started selling his paperback, Reaching the Whole Child by Teaching Whole Class Needs. And that's his newest. And I do want to give him credit for plugging that, honoring student-independent reading choice. He's an English teacher. That's a subject close to his heart. Now, you and I both involve choice in our classroom. We really do, whenever we can, like to let students decide what the road's going to be for them. Sometimes, right now, here's a project idea, and you can find this on Teachers Pay Teachers at the Hogger History Store or on Amped Up Learning. I created and modified and innovated, because other people have done this, a vacation project, world history. Go anywhere in the world, book your travel, book your flight, book a hotel. Tell me 3 historical places you would visit, and if you were really there, what would you actually learn? What can you bring back to our class to present as if you had gone there?
Nice.
And so, what a great way to dive deep into budgeting, into finance, but you give the choice. You can go anywhere in the world. Then you got to talk to the kid that did Portland, Oregon, like outside the United States. It's right
So
there
close.
in the instructions,
So
you know? You're just miles from a border. Gonna take you away. It's really great to see what they come up with.
And to speak what you were saying about what an amazing time to be teachers with the technology, now they can actually go on virtual tours of a lot of these places. Google sent some people to the Galapagos Islands with a special Google camera backpack, and they hiked all over all the Galapagos Islands. And so one of my projects when I was teaching 4th grade was the kids got to go hiking on the Galapagos Island, and they could even go swimming in some parts of the island as well. And I think that's a really nice way to expand that, is to have them plan out the whole trip. That's great.
Yeah, good stuff. So there's just a couple ideas for you this week. We hope you're doing very well, and we hope you'll join us again on a future edition of Inspiring Teachers. I'm Danny Hogger.
Tavis Bean.
And we thank Numi Tea for enjoying our beverage and enjoying making the beverage for us. Because we'll send our beverage to them to enjoy. It's a weird relationship. They asked for it. I don't know why. But we'll see you soon. Follow us, subscribe, and like and share. And we'll see you sometime soon. For now, class is dismissed. Good.
Yeah.